It's neat to be able to do a different format this week for your update. So thank you so much for letting me join you here today. I understand that you've put together a school reopening task force. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? I know that's really important for everybody in our community.
Yeah, thanks so much, Amber. Yeah, this is important. So this past Wednesday, we had the largest Zoom I've been a part of as far as including a lot of participants. It was 65 of our executive team principals, our union partners, our teachers, our counselors, maintenance staff, physicians, nurses, gosh, the list goes on, PTA presidents, community members at large. I'm probably missing a bunch here, but 65 folks joined us on a Zoom to begin to unpack the guidance from the county with regards to school reopening. I mean, there's so many questions about what's going to happen, in the future. And actually, we opened a document that people could dump questions into. And I organized the document around the 5 elements of the county task force, which include teaching and learning, health and safety, right? Community and family engagement, operations. So the task force is going to be taking that document and actually unraveling it by level. So looking at what are the implications for our primary education, for our upper elementary education, for middle school and for high school around those elements. And so those subcommittees have been determined. We have facilitators for each of those committees. They're going to do a lot of work between now and 2 weeks out. And they're going to come back 2 weeks out, and we're going to do an update with the overall task force to find out where folks are. The chiefs, Chief Encontro, Chief Rueda, are going to be providing technical assistance, as will our physicians and others on there with those groups of people. This is a pretty big effort, and I feel really good about where we are right now. Other districts really aren't doing this much. I'm seeing a lot of very top-down, like this is what the program's going to be, get it done, because of the time frame that we're talking about. But I think that we're really going to benefit as a district and a community because of the work that's going to be happening with that group right now. So I'm really excited about it, and we're off and running.
Absolutely. And so the sort of time frame or the initial findings of these task force and the micro teams in them, that's going to be at the June 23rd board meeting. Is that right?
Yeah, we'll be providing certainly an update as to where we are as of June 23rd. And so that the community can get a sense for this. But there's elements that are so far outside of our control that we're going to be monitoring. Just if you follow what just happened with all of this parade and stuff like that, what you have is you have a county office of public health and you have a county department of education. And at times they work together, and at other times they kind of do this by necessity, by the way, because they have different missions. But what we have to do is to begin to unravel the guidance from health and put that in the context of education, right? So as the county moves from a level 2 status to a level 3, they're going to be allowing more access to retail and restaurants. And then what are the implications of that for public education, for sports and activities, for parks and facilities? And then as everyone anticipates, at some point in the summer, they're going to move to level 4, which doesn't mean we're out of the woods completely, but we have to plan for what would school look like in a reopening in August, where elements of safer at home, like personal protective equipment, safer or social distancing, obviously hard surface cleaning, all those things, kids walking through hallways, going to lunch, going to the playground. So these are all these pieces that we're going to have to take from public health, put it together with education. And that's what the task force is going to help us with, because we really do need a 360-degree, view on this, because we certainly don't know everything. We're the experts in education, but we need help on the other elements of this.
Yes, and I think, like you mentioned, just the size of the group. What's also nice that's going to be built into it is sort of the vertical collaboration. So within our teams that are addressing elementary school, lower and upper, those will be in communications with our middle school with high school, so that we're all having a uniform program, and whatever unique aspects to each school site physically will be respected.
Yeah, that's a good point. Just keeping in mind the strain this is going to put on families, right? And childcare issues and folks working from home versus working in the office. So there's so many moving pieces to this, but yeah, we hope to provide the best possible outcomes by including so many voices in this.
Earlier this week, you attended a governor's budget May revise workshop with the School Services of California. Where do we stand with the budget? What did you learn about budget in that workshop?
Yeah, so first of all, just to give you a quick little lesson here, the governor puts out a budget in January in normal years, and what happens then, tax receipts are collected in April. The budget revised in May reflects what's happening, with the tax receipts, and for the last, 8 or 9 years, it's been very, very positive growth in school district budgets. We've all been anticipating a recession even prior to COVID-19. So when we moved into this era of COVID-19, then all of a sudden we all recognize that the economy ground to a halt. In California, that has profound implications on the upper 5% of our population's income, which then drives, of course, tax receipts down. And then that would all, in off years and recession years, that would have a negative impact on the COLA and on the governor's budget, right? So in bad years, in the May revision, normally the budget would go down by a percentage, usually not extreme. So when the COVID-19 crisis hit, we began hearing that we should anticipate a 20 to 22% reduction in state revenues. That was a punch in the gut, because all the work we've been doing to essentially solve the riddle of the structural deficit here in San Marino
before the pandemic,
before any of this hit, we were on a good pathway with regards to that. Now all of a sudden we would be considering a $6.2 million additional hit to our budget. So, obviously that was very concerning. The good news this week is that the governor's revised point of view at this point, by the way, because we're not to August when he'll actually have tax receipts in hand, is that we should anticipate about a 10% reduction in our state revenue. So for us, instead of 6.2 million, that represents about $2.7 million. And he actually included a structural COLA in that figure, which reduces that exposure a couple of more percentage points to about 8%. So we have what we think is a manageable problem in front of us. The good news is that we started this work back last year, and we've been taking very strong steps towards constricting our budget, not spending what we don't have to spend, not backfilling positions that were vacant. And then, of course, the well-documented reduction in forces on the certificated classified side, and then the significant reduction in administration, both centrally and next year at sites, got us to a good number that we felt solid about. So we have done a lot of this work. I was on with a bunch of superintendents yesterday who were panicking because they know they have to make now significant reductions as they head into summer here. In fact, one local smaller district is talking about laying off 100 people in one moment because, again, of this crisis. So I feel really good about where we are, knock on wood, but heading into the summer, I think we're about as healthy as we can. I want to, again, say thank you to our foundation. The work they did on the campaign is really helping us offset quite a bit of this. So yeah, that's kind of where we are right now.
Yes, and speaking of the foundation, just to touch briefly on that, I know that they've extended their efforts, and we're so appreciative because we have had to take a really hard look at our budget and make some really difficult decisions. Where do we stand with the San Marino Foundation, San Marino Schools Foundation campaign, and what does that extension entail?
Yeah, so we're hitting the home stretch here. The campaign is through May 31st. I know we are really getting close to $1 million in the bank there, and they've enacted a really cool feature to the campaign right now, which is everybody who donates at this point will receive a match from the foundation. So that's great news, right? Because then, any donation that you folks reach deep down and provide us will be matched on the other end.
It's just been on so many fronts, so many efforts from our teachers to our students. It's just been really inspiring work as well. And I can't think of a better campaign name than We Are San Marino, because San Marino has really come together during this time.
Absolutely.
All right, so you mentioned this, so let's talk more about what's coming up at this next board meeting on Tuesday, our regularly scheduled board meeting. It'll be another virtual one, so there will be a link sent out to the community and available on our agenda. But what are some things that folks can look or expect to hear about at this next board meeting?
Yeah, sure, and thank you for your patience with this video. I know it's a little long, but it was important to get Chief Incontro on and I hope you appreciate that. So this will be kind of our final piece here today. Yeah, this coming Tuesday, we have our regular board meeting. We're going to be looking at a budget update, so kind of more in depth of what I just explained to you will be presented, and then possibilities with regards to FEMA providing resources. We're tracking all of our costs that are associated with this crisis, and so we're anticipating some relief from FEMA, which will help us as well. San Marino Schools Foundation, as we just spoke about, they're going to be providing an update on the campaign and on their regular campaign as well. We're going to hear, I can't wait to hear from our Council PTA President, Michiko Lee. She'll give us a report for the year. Michiko's done such an amazing job as our Council PTA President. Really going to miss our regular meetings with her, but I'm looking forward to working with Catherine Oliveras as well, coming up in the next year. And then we're going to be talking about having a discussion with the board about local revenue streams and the possibility of future revenue initiatives. The simple fact of the matter is, folks, the local control funding formula has put us in a position where we have to rely on local revenue streams in San Marino. This is nothing that anybody's done wrong, except that this particular funding formula assumes wealthy communities are able to develop local revenue streams. So we want to talk about that. We want to have a discussion about where that's going, and the work of the first team will be included in that. The first team is still meeting, by the way, and hasn't come up with its final recommendations, but certainly there will be elements of this that relate to the work of FIRST. And then the board will be taking action on an emergency grading policy that we discussed in the last board meeting. That's going to be kind of it for us for this board meeting, and I'm looking forward to it. So with that, Amber, thank you for facilitating this today. I just want to wish everyone a happy Memorial Day weekend. I hope you have some time to enjoy that with your families. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wilson. Take care, everyone.